Yo, bit of a later one today. Had a rather very productive, proactive, busy today. So it's a little later, little bit of a later upload today, but nonetheless, still got time to read, to learn, and to get more insight. So without further ado, let's get into it. Waste no time. Application suggestions. Take the time to record the impressions you had in the funeral visualization at the beginning of this chapter. You may want to use the chart below to organize your thoughts. Take a few moments and write down your roles as you now see them. Are you satisfied with that mirror image of your life? Set up time to completely separate yourself from daily activities and to begin work on your personal mission statement. Start a collection of notes, quotes, and ideas you want to use as resource material in writing your personal mission statement. Identify a project you will be facing in the near future and apply the principle of mental creation. Write down the results you desire and what steps will lead to those results. Share the principles of Habit 2 with your life or work group and suggest that together you begin the process of developing a family or group mission statement. New insights on Habit 2 begin with the end in mind by Steve Covey. When I attended my 20th Harvard Business School reunion, Clayton Christensen, one of the greatest management thinkers of our time, gave the keynote address. He spoke candidly to the packed audience of thousands of HBS graduates on the topic of how to measure your life. His message was essentially this: don't blow it. Among Christensen's classmates, many were estranged from their families, others were in prison, and still others were living unhappy lives. None of them started off thinking, I want to live the kind of life where my kids won't speak to me, or I want to commit fraud, or I want to be completely unfulfilled. But because they didn't carefully think through what matters most, and because they repeatedly made small compromising decisions over a long period, they found themselves in a completely different place than they had intended to be. Clayton told a story about his first job out of school at a prestigious consulting firm. As a young consultant, he'd worked hard, long hours, Monday through Friday, and was devoted to his colleagues and his clients. But juggling work and life demands become challenging. One day, one of his managers told him to clear his Sunday so that the team could prepare for an important client meeting on Monday. Clayton paused and told his manager he couldn't come in for the meeting. I'm sorry, he explained. I don't work on Sundays. That is the day that I reserve for my faith. The manager walked away grumbling, but came back a short while later. Okay, fine. I've been able to move everything to Saturday. We have the preparation meeting then. Clayton paused before responding. I'm so sorry, he explained again. I don't work on Saturdays. My wife and I made the decision long ago to prioritize our family on Saturdays. I spent Saturdays with my family. His colleague stormed away for a third time before coming back with, do you happen to work on Fridays? Clayton explained how he got through the decision, which was the first of many that shaped his life for the better, propelled his career, and kept him near to his family and faith. He sensed that if he were to compromise staying late or working weekends just this once, it would become a slippery slope. He learned over the years that it's easier to stick to your principles 100% of the time than 98% of the time. As he put it, decide what you stand for and then stand for it all the time. After Clayton's speech, the lecture hall erupted in a standing ovation like I had never experienced before. Literally, no one would sit down but just kept on clapping. In his own way, Clayton was challenging all of these type A personalities who planned on building businesses and changing the world to think deeper than they had before about about what truly defines success and to begin with the end in mind. As this story beautifully illustrates, you don't want to climb the ladder of success and upon reaching the top rung, realize that the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. I hope you sense how strongly my father felt about the power of purpose and mission. As a young man, his grandfather, Stephen McCovey, tended sheep and was once trapped in a winter storm on the plains of Wyoming. It was 30 degrees below zero, and thinking he was going to die, he prayed, God, if you will save me tonight, I promise to one day build a refuge on this very spot to protect every wary travelers. Well, he made it through the night, and many years later built a hotel right there on the plains of Wyoming, which he called Covey's Little America. Later, he successfully expanded to a second hotel in Salt Lake Union. His son took over that business, and my dad was trained at a young age to be the next family hotel operator. But while my father was at a business school, he discovered that he had a passion for teaching and decided he didn't want to run the hotel after all. He was so afraid to tell his father, but he finally worked up the courage to say, Dad, I don't want to run the family business. Surprisingly, my grandfather said, you know what? I never liked business that much myself. You go ahead and be a teacher. And that's exactly what Dad did. Even as a young man, Dad was always mission driven. He had a short written mission statement which he refined throughout his life. I don't think he'd want me to share the exact wording, but basically it was the idea of unlocking human potential and flooding the world with principle-centered leadership. He saw himself as a pathfinder, a trailblazer, a paradigm breaker. That was the role he envisioned. Bringing principle-centered leadership to the world and unleashing human potential, he always felt that everyone had a distinct mission or unique contribution to make. And he was always communicating this to people. I would often overhear him saying things like, I think you would make an extraordinary business leader, or what a difference you are making as the peacemaker in your family, or you'll make a great parent someday. I once randomly asked my father how he defined leadership. He thought for a second and said, leadership is communicating to another their worth and potential so clearly that they're inspired to see it in themselves. As he said this, I teared up because it was so genuine. He had always communicated to me my worth and potential even when I didn't see it myself. How to write a mission statement. The best way to begin with the end in mind is to write a personal mission statement, philosophy, or creed. After reading this chapter, many people get excited about writing a mission statement, but then they get busy. One thing leads to another, and the excitement wears off. The fact is, you can't afford not to do it. Too much is at stake. There's something incredibly powerful about having a written mission statement, a personal constitution, so to speak, that will guide your life and direct your daily decisions. The key to getting it done is to not overthink it. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get started and refine it over time. Here are a few ideas for developing a mission statement. Free write. Sit down and for 15 minutes, keep your pen moving. Write down everything that comes to mind about what you're best at, self-awareness, what you feel need to do, conscience, and what you would do if you had no limits, imagination. The key is to continue writing until the time is up. When you're done, do a little editing to form a rough draft of your mission statement. Plan a retreat. Schedule a day when you get away to some location that inspires you, whether it be the beach, the mountains, or a park. Think through what matters most to you. To spur some ideas, ask yourself questions like the ones below and write down your answers. Then synthesize and edit until you have a draft. Think of a person who has made a positive difference in your life. What qualities does that person have that you would like to develop? Describe a time when you were deeply inspired. If you place an I-beam across the Grand Canyon, for what or for whom would you be willing to cross? If you could spend one day in a great library studying anything you wanted, what would it be? What are 10 things you absolutely positively love to do? Think of something that represents you, an animal, a song, a car, a place. How does it uniquely represent you? Branch out. Use a favorite quote, a single word, a piece of music, a poem. There is no single right way. I help teenagers with mission statements all the time. Teens don't often relate to verbal expressions, but they love the idea of creating a collage or a vision board, which is visually a way which is a visual way of capturing your mission. Use a template. If you need more guidance, we have created a mission statement builder app, which is the most visited page on the Franklin Covey website. It will work you through how to build a mission statement, answer some questions, push, print, and there you go. You'll have a mission statement in your hands. I first wrote a mission statement when I was in college, and at this point in my life, I'm probably on my 20th draft. My mission statement has progressively become shorter. It's now down to one sentence, but is rife with meaning to me. Clarifying what your life is about through a mission statement can dramatically impact your life. As a child, Elizabeth Marks dreamed of serving in the military and enlisted at 17. She suffered a serious injury during a deployment to Iraq, and her greatest fear was a medical discharge from the army. Sergeant Marks wrote her personal mission, fit for duty, on a piece of paper and carried it with her throughout her grueling recovery. Eventually, she became a record-breaking para swimmer, joined the U.S. Army world-class elite athlete program, and was declared fit for duty in July 2012. When I was a teenager, I remembered my dad calling a family meeting. "All right, children," he pronounced, "we're going to write our family mission statement." A lot of moaning and groaning ensued. Undaunted, he continued, "The idea is to create our own family constitution. I would like everyone's input." When it was my turn, I sarcastically said, "I think it should say we're one heck of a family and we kick butt." It didn't make the final cut, but we did meet as a family several more times to refine a mission statement that said something like, "Our home is a place for fun, relaxation, learning, friends, growth, and order, to develop ourselves into the kinds of people who can contribute to the world." Despite being a carefree teenager, I remember how the process of writing and posting a family mission statement made me feel. I was a vital part of my family, and we did have purpose. We were about something, and even though we had lots of problems and fights like every family does, it helps us create a resilient and fun family culture where we enjoyed being together and where everyone was willing to apologize and try again. Since then, I've seen many tremendous family mission statements. I have a good friend with 4 kids, and his family mission statement looks like a massive constitution hanging on his wall with about 2,000 words, for crying out loud. On the other hand, my aunt and uncle have a 3-word mission statement: "No empty chairs." And I have a Danish friend whose family has a single-word mission, which is the name of her family cabin, Helsifor. To them, it means everything. Organizational mission statements, not just words on a wall. Organizational mission statements sometimes get a lot of flack because so often they're just platitudes nobody lives by, or they're created by a couple of people at corporate and pushed down the organization with no buy-in. But you can't underestimate the power of creating a mission as a team and getting it right. Some organizational mission statements are so genuine you can feel their mission exuding for their people, products, and services. 2 that jump out at me are IKEA and American Girl. I've bought a lot of furniture from IKEA, and those from American Girl and their mission statement perfectly capture my experience with them. IKEA, to create better everyday life for the many people. Our business idea supports this vision by offering a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. American Girl, through the joy of play and the wonder of a great book, we help girls discover their sense of self with timeless stories and memorable characters who instill important values like honesty, courage, kindness, and compassion. Perhaps the most remarkable transformation I've ever seen from implementing an organizational mission statement comes from A.B. Cobbs Elementary, a public school in Raleigh, North Carolina, where about half of the students live in poverty or near poverty situations. In 2000, this magnet school was really struggling, and Merle Summers had been appointed principal. Attendance was extremely low. The school could accommodate 800 students, but only 300 students were enrolled. The building was messy, parents were not involved. The teachers didn't enjoy working there, and the kids could sense this. Finally, the superintendent said, Merle, we're going to shut you down as a magnet school because you're not attracting enough students. Moreau was desperate and didn't know what to do. She asked the superintendent, can I have another year? He said, I'll give you another week to come up with a new idea. Moreau challenged the school staff, why don't we go out and talk with the community to find out what they want the school to teach their kids? She and her team talked with parents and employees. They said, we want our children to be self-starters. We want them to get along with other people, to learn how to set goals, solve problems, balance their lives, show up on time, resolve conflicts, and play at the part. They talked about what we might call leadership skills or 21st century life skills. Nobody said anything about high test scores. Previous to this predicament, Merle had attended a 7 Habits workshop taught by my father in Washington, D.C. While he was teaching, she kept thinking, why do we have to wait until we're adults to learn these powerful ideas? Why can't kids learn them? During a break, she gathered her courage, approached him, and asked, Dr. Covey, do you think these habits could be taught to young children? How young? As young as 5 years old. He mulled it over, then smiled and said, I don't know why not. Let me know how it goes if you ever do it. After synthesizing all of these experiences, Merle Summers and her staff came to that leadership was what their school needed most. Their superintendent liked it, and their new mission statement was posted in the center of the school. Our mission is to develop leaders one child at a time. The mission was not meant to make students into future CEOs. It was to help them become leaders of their own lives and in their school. The teacher began integrating the 7 habits into their existing lessons. They soon noticed a significant rise in student self-confidence and a drop in discipline problems. Parents noticed too as the behavior of their children began to change at home. Inspiring quotes about leadership was posted in the hallways. Assemblies and other school events took on the leadership theme. 7 Habits language was heard on the playground. Each student carried around a data notebook where they kept track of their test scores and where they set and tracked their goals. Each student had a leadership role to play in the school. A student might be the leader when welcoming everyone to class, broadcasting good morning announcements, hosting visitors, monitoring the playground. In short, everyone was a leader of some kind. Leadership was no longer the domain of just a few kids. It was for every single student. Within a few years, scores rose from an average of 84% to 94%. Morale soared. Parents got involved. Enrollment increased from 300 to 800 students with a huge waiting list. Housing prices in the school area rose, and in 2005 and then again in 2014, A.B. Cobbs, a public school with 50% of their students living in poverty or near poverty situations, speaking 28 languages, was named the #1 magnet school in the U.S. Today, more than 5,000 schools in over 50 countries have adopted the A.B. Cobbs leadership model called Leader in Me. Touching the lives of more than 2 million students and their families. Thousands of educators from around the world have to come visit A.B. Cobbs to experience what they've created. Or Merle Summers, for students, staff, parents, and community leaders come together around a powerful end in mind with a school mission statement to match. They had no idea how much they would impact the world. Here's my challenge to do. Don't read this chapter without coming away with a personal mission statement. So some are long, some are short, some are songs, some are vision boards. It doesn't matter. It's whatever works for you. A personal mission statement represents the highest and best within you. If you're in a family, gather and define what you're about. If you're in a position of influence at work, do what you can do to write a mission statement or refine the one you already have. then sit back and watch what it can do. The end of habit 2. We'll be starting habit 3 in the next video, which is put first things first. But let's recap. One thing I want to talk about is the example of, I believe, Clayton Christensen's, when he was working at a consulting firm and was asked to come and work on Saturday or work on Sunday, and he said no to both of those requests due to the principles that he had in life. And I think that is very important. And I think it sets a great motto of why principles and the values or the personal mission statement that you will write is important to you. Because in any situation that you have in your life, whether it be from work, whether it be your personal life, whether it be from any kind of external situation or environment that you might be in, and something were to happen and it tests your principles or your values that you may have, is a good testament to how you will respond and how true those principles and values or personal mission statement are. And sometimes it might fail. Sometimes those principles might fail. Let's say Clayton said, hey, you know what, I will attend, and shows up to work. But like he said in the book, it's better to be 100% than 98% of the time. And I think that's very important. I think that you should approach life with 100% rather than just 98%. Especially when it comes to principles. So, good takeaway. Pleased with the chapter. Pleased with the habit. I think by far, one thing that I always preach on myself and something that I always preach on others who are seeking advice is, what are your values? What do you truly care about in life? But now looking back at it, or looking at this habit, it will further enhance what I truly believe in, but go deeper into a personal mission statement, or go deeper into what are the principles in your life rather than just values. So glad with this chapter, super happy with this chapter, this habit, but it's time to continue on to the next one. Thank you and see ya.